Welcome to another episode of the Banner Report podcast, starring Cody Adams and Steve Crowley. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Banner Report podcast, starring Cody Adams and Steve Crowley. Steve, how are you?
Same stuff, different pants. You know, the Celtics can't hurt us anymore.
No. We're coming to you on June 10th, 2023. A week and a half removed from the Celtics? 2 weeks removed from the Celtics, breaking our hearts.
Yeah, not great.
We took a little hiatus because I don't know about the rest of our listeners, but I think we're both too emotionally invested into this team. And if they lose, determining if they win or lose will determine our mood for the upcoming day, week, year. So things are pretty sad around here if you're a Celtics fan, but not if you're a Denver Nuggets fan.
Oof. Oh boy.
Wow.
Like I said, the Heat rely on you to beat yourselves, and I've yet to see the Nuggets beat themselves this year.
They are cooking with grease, man. They're up 3-1.
Yeah, and the only game the Heat won was they had the best fourth quarter of any team in any game this entire season, and they won by 3.
You know,
they had a historic performance in the fourth quarter to win by 3.
It's sort of like all year. It's kind of maybe just because we're an East team. The Nuggets have just been the best team all year. They never lost first place in the West. They dominated throughout the playoffs, and now they're dominating the finals. It's almost like, I don't know, everybody thought the Celtics were the favorites to win it this year. They probably should have been, but the Nuggets really had the mantle the whole way through, and they look like the team of destiny throughout.
They really just held it. Mike Malone doesn't get enough, or Michael Malone, don't call him Mike.
Michael Malone, you know,
Mike.
Yeah.
Michael Malone over there doesn't he deserved a little bit more credit, I think, for Coach of the Year this year. I mean, I know that they were really good last year, and they got bounced in the first round because of all the injuries.
They're missing Jamal Murray, who's apparently the top 15 player in the NBA.
Last night, Bruce Brown tried to take his job.
Yeah.
But you're missing Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and you went against the eventual champions in the Warriors. So that happens. But this year they just came out on fire from day one, and they just never gave it up. At the end of the year, you were looking at them like, oh, they're not that good. See how they're losing or whatever. But I just think they just kind of mailed it in. They weren't going to get better draft seeding than the 1 seed. So they're kind of like, all right, well, we're just going to play it out and see what happens. And no, it seemed to work out pretty well for them because now they got a chance to go home on, was it Monday's the next game?
Yeah.
You get a chance to go home on Monday and win a title in front of their fans. First one in franchise history for the Nuggets.
First championship, right?
I think this is the first time they've even made the finals.
Wow. That's crazy. If that's true. I don't know if that's true or not.
The only other times they had a good team was in the 80s. They had Alex English. But I don't know anybody else even on that team.
They have Fat Lever, Kiki Vanderway.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of like a Hall of Fame players, but I guess they never. I mean, the West was a buzzsaw. The Lakers, they ran into the fucking Lakers buzzsaw.
Or the Spurs.
Yeah, the Spurs were even good back then.
Yeah, and then you got they had the 2001 Nuggets was AI, Carmelo.
Not yet. He wasn't on them yet.
He wasn't on that yet?
AI was in 2001. AI took the 76ers to the finals.
Oh, yeah. No, maybe it was 2003 then? Because wasn't Carmelo same draft class as LeBron?
Yeah, but I don't think AI went there that early. I think he was.
It was a couple years after that.
I think like 2006 maybe.
Yeah, I know that one team had George Karl coach, and I think he gets overrated as a coach. was like those two. They had like I think they had Kenyon Martin on that team. Marcus Camby.
Isn't he the all-time leader in wins, George Karl?
No,
Or close there?
maybe for
He's
the
top
Nuggets.
4, right?
He might be top 4 in playoffs or something like that. But he doesn't have any titles or anything. So big Doc
So
Rivers.
what does TOT mean? Team TOT? What the fuck does that mean?
Total.
No, so AI went after Philadelphia. It says TOT. Did he go to Toronto? What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell that
So
means.
2006 at 7 was his last year in Philly, and then he got traded midway throughout to Denver.
Oh, then you got the TOT between. That's the total of the two teams together because
Oh,
they'll split up the your stats for each team.
that's crazy. I just guessed the year 2006, 2000, and I was the correct year. It seems about right though. 2009 was like really when that Nuggets team was cooking. That makes sense. A few years after that, they were really good. But yeah, good for the Nuggets. There. What do you think this go? You think they're going to close it out next game, or do you think they're?
Yeah, I don't think that like the Heat's best chance is to win all their home games, and they even stole one in Denver. They stole game 2, so you had to win out your home games because I don't think that they rely a lot on bench players and role players, and they're not going to play as well in Denver as they do at home. Like I don't think that Struce and Duncan Robinson and Vincent. I don't think they're all going to go off in Denver. I mean, these guys have proven me wrong time and time again, but
If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be these guys.
but history says that the role players do not play well on the road. So
We'll see. I'm more inclined to. I think they could take another one at most, but Denver's got this. They're just too talented, and I know. Just fucking rewind it back to 2 weeks ago when I was saying the same thing about the Celtics. They're just too talented, but this is a little bit different. The Nuggets are kind of what the Celtics aren't in terms of they're consistently talented. They're talented and consistent. You're getting the same thing every single night. They play just a really good style of basketball. Jokic is, man, what a player he is. It's probably one of the best, probably one of the easiest guys to root for in the NBA.
mhm.
I think.
All of
Just
these European
supremely
guys-
talented.
most of the European players are all really easy to root for. You got
See,
him,
I don't really like Doncic that much. I think he's a
Yeah.
whiny baby.
He does whine a little bit, but I mean, like, look at the way he plays the game, though. I mean, you can't complain about the way he plays either.
He doesn't play defense.
Defense, but offensively, he's top notch.
Yeah.
Doesn't get in trouble like off the court or anything like that. I think that Jokic is probably the best player in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's debatable. But Bill Simmons was talking on his podcast. He's like, he's definitely in the top 100 players of all time already. And he's
I think he might be
27.
top- I think he might be top 75 all time already, in my opinion.
He has to win it. And then he probably has to do it again, I think.
I mean, dude, we had people arguing for Kyrie Irving to be a top 75 player, and he has one ring.
It's true. He's been in the league a lot longer.
And Jokic is already doing better things than Kyrie. I think Jokic has already surpassed Kyrie.
Listen, he's on his way. Like Jokic is on his way to top 20. Top 20 for sure.
I mean, think about this. There's been 5 games in postseason history in all the NBA and all the games of a guy going 30, 20, and 10. Jokic has 3 of them.
I mean, I hear you.
Did it in an NBA Finals game. Like,
2-time MVP. He's just he's definitely on his way to top 20. One of the best big men of all time,
he's fucking dominant. He's
if
probably
not the best offensive one.
He's the best offensive big man I've ever seen.
Just about. Yeah, I can't think. I mean, in terms of all aspects of the game and offense, nobody's as good as him.
The only guy I ever saw that was close to him was Boogie in his prime. But even
Yeah.
then, it was like it wasn't as consistent as Joker was.
Not a good a shooter either.
No, he was close, but Joker's shooting like fucking 47%. I think they said last night from 3.
It's insane.
It's like if he just takes the 3, it's like he doesn't take a lot of them. So like when he takes it, it's a good shot. It's just money.
It's like
chance of going in.
and he like he's just a guy I just like to root for him. A 2nd round pick, like who the hell doesn't want to root for that guy?
Got drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Like, I connect with him on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
We Taco Bell guys. He just
It's
loves his fucking horses.
There's a very famous clip of there was talks about the Celtics trading for Jokic after like his first or second year, and Felger and Maz is very famous clip of Felger like laughing the premise off the fucking show, being like, "Who that? Joseph Nurkic, Jokic. These guys are the same guy. We don't want them. They're fucking off. It's like, and now, yeah, I don't think there's anybody I wouldn't trade for Jokic. I'd trade Tatum for Jokic straight up.
It'd be tough. I mean, Tatum's one. I mean, Tatum's my guy, so that's why I'd have a hard time doing it. And it's a wing-driven league. But
I hear you, but the center's about to win a championship.
But Jokic is just a different animal. It's just the ugly ass shots that he takes. That you're like, that's a bad shot. That's not going in. It's like, all right, that's money. That's hit the rim 3 times and falling in.
He's only what, 3 years older than Tatum too?
Maybe. I'll look it up right now.
I think so. I think that's about right. 3 or 4. Not that much older than him.
He is 28 years old.
And Tatum's 24.
He won 3 days before me. Holy shit.
That sucks to hear. I don't want to hear that.
Guys won 2 MVPs and he's 3 days older than me.
And about to win a championship.
Here we are recording the Banner Report.
Well, that makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, maybe if I was born 7 feet tall, I'd have a chance at the NBA too. But unfortunately, God said 6 feet tall. That's it, buddy. You're gonna grow. You're gonna stop growing tall. You're gonna grow wider. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough about the Nuggets. Happy early belated championship. Good for you guys. Good for the city of Denver. Good for Jokic. Good.
The party in Denver. You thought that the wildfires in Canada were putting up smoke? Oh boy, that's gonna smell skunky all the way in Boston from.
It's
Denver.
gonna be orange. Yeah, it's gonna be orange all fucking month. But yeah, so let's move to the Celtics. Let's go back to the hurt. Then we can move on to funnier topics. But the Celtics 23 season, 22-23 season post-mortem. What's the story of the Celtics season?
Just inconsistency, I think. I mean, like in the regular season, I was like, all right, well, you're just gonna piss away games to shit teams. You're not gonna have the focus or whatever because like your core's already been to the finals last year. Like your core's been deep in the playoffs every year, so like they don't care about the regular season. That was the whole thing. But then you get to the postseason, they continue to do it. I mean, you shit away 2 games versus the Hawks. That went 6. You shit away 3 games against the Sixers. You lost a game with no Joel Embiid against the Sixers, like at home.
At home.
Like that's a bad one to lose. You lost another one where Jaylen Brown decided to double off of the strong side corner with James Harden sitting there in the overtime game. That's a bad loss. So you should have waited 3 games against them to go 7. Found a way to win it, and you're thinking, all right, well, cool, you got the Heat. You don't have the Bucks. You have the Heat. It's an 8 seed. You're much more talented than them. You should have beat them, and then you went away and you shit out the first 3 games and put yourself in a corner. And then
so it's like it's impossible. It's impossible to beat a team 4 times in a row.
Yeah, there's too many outliers. Like Tatum rolling his ankle in the first 20 seconds of Game 7. Like, you take care of business in one of those first 3 games. You're not even in that position. You won the series already.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if you want to look at it from your 3,000-foot perspective, look at the entirety of the season. Like, look how it started. What did you find out like a week before the season started that your head coach that took you to the championship last year is gone?
No, that happened over the summer.
Yeah, it wasn't that far before the
it was like a month or 2.
Yeah, it wasn't even that far. So like, all your training camp was basically over by the time they found that out. So, you got a rookie head coach, youngest coach in the league, and you come out and you win 54 games this year, 57, something like that.
Yep, second place in the East, second best record in the NBA.
Number 2 defense in the league, number 2 offense in the league. Like, it's not a bad year when you look at it that way. I mean, it would have been nice to have a competitive series against the Heat. If you lost in a competitive series, it would have been nice.
Yeah.
But if it went 7 and you won 1 and they won 1 and you went back and forth, but the only reason why we went 7 is because you shit away the first 3 games and games you should have won.
2 of those games were fucking blowouts. Game 3 and Game 7. Absolute blowouts. Like they just folded.
At home too. Game 3 was on the road.
Oh, it was. Yeah, yeah, it was. I agree. It was just inconsistency, and specifically on the defensive side of the ball, there was times, stretches throughout the season. They never like last 2 years ago. Basically, when they went on that incredible hot streak, the defense was airtight for the rest of the season, all the way up until the finals.
Yep.
And then when they really wanted to defend, the Celtics are the best defensive team in basketball. They just have the athletes, they have the length, the size, they can rotate. But they didn't play that the way they did 2 years ago under Ime, and I don't know if that's a coaching thing, if that's a you know I don't know what that is, but they just at times wilted and they look like they could never get out of their own way for large stretches of the season. And then when they play their best basketball, it's like holy shit! It's like the Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals. It's like this team. These are two different like levels of teams. I will say another thing: the three ball. I feel like this year they shot the three ball a lot more than any other season on record, and that just is a gut feeling. I don't even know if that's true, but they relied on it way too much this year. And that you see it with the playoffs when Tatum was taking on the interior, he was getting it no matter what way he wanted it. And when the threes didn't fall for this team, they lost. They lost the game generally every single time. And obviously when they hit 40% from three, it's a hard thing to do to shoot 40% from three for long stretches of the season. It's really hard to do.
For a team to do it too. For a whole team to do it, like, it's really tough. That was the Missoula. That was the Missoula ball experience. He wanted to shoot a lot of threes. By the numbers, shooting a three when you're a decent 3-point shooting team is better than shooting a two. But I think next year, I think we're going to go a lot more. We're actually going to have an offense set up, because this year was a free flowing offense. It was like, all right, back screen here, screen over here, dive down the middle, see if we can open something up that way. And you don't really have sets. We only had a couple of sets, like the Tatum catches the ball at 3/4 court and run down as fast as you can to shoot a three or whatever, at the end of the game. Like, we didn't have a lot of sets. So next year with a full off season, I think that Missoula will come up with some sets. You have Sam Cassell there now. That's a big pickup, I think.
The whole bench is basically gone. The coaching bench is gone. There's only two coaches under staff, right?
They haven't left yet, but they're all thought to be going to Houston. Doesn't follow Ime because that was the guy that hired them. So I mean, you can't really blame the guys for going with the guys that hired him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cassell, and then Joe can build his own bench. So that's another positive that you can look at. You can spin it positive that way. See if he can build some people that he knows and trusts, and we'll back him on what he says.
Yeah.
And can coach it the way he wants to coach it.
So that's what you
Cassell has 30 years of experience in the NBA between playing and coaching. Like, that's huge.
Yeah. Championship experience too.
The scary part is that when we go on a 3 or 4 game losing streak, everybody's going to be looking at Cassell sitting right next to him going, hey, what about that guy?
Has he ever been a head coach in the NBA?
No, he's always been an assistant. He's an assistant for the last 10 years, I think. A lot of people think he's coming here for the next 2 years before he can get a head coaching job.
Yeah.
But
he's got the Doc Rivers stink on him right now.
He does. But he's still a really good assistant coach, I think. I don't think he's a bad coach.
Definitely.
And I think that he can help set up offenses, and he has the NBA experience, so it's a big thing with coaches. Like, that's what
he's a name players can respect.
Even Ime, they respect him because he was in the league. He knew what they were going through. Ime wasn't a big name in the league. He played for the Spurs. He was another guy.
He's like a bench player for his whole career.
Sam Cassell was basically a bench player for the second half of his career.
Yeah, but he was a starter for much of his career.
For a lot of it. But he's another guy who's been there. He's been benched. He's been starting. He can help out these guys. So that's a big pickup, I think. And the defense, going back to that point, I think part of it is personnel this year. I mean, Rob didn't play for the first half of the year. You're playing every other night with Al. You got Grant, who we found out after the season had to get surgery in February. Had to get surgery on a shooting hand, so he's not even getting minutes really. His minutes got cut down to 20 minutes of the game after February.
Because his offensive was so bad, but his defensive ability was still consistent throughout.
Still pretty good, but if you're not getting the minutes, it's kind of hard to get into the flow of the game defensively. And are you coming in a spot start? You got to figure out how the officials are whistling everything.
Yeah.
And you got Brogdon coming in. Brogdon was bad defensively this year. I thought that was a real letdown. I thought he was going to be a lot better than that. And Smart
Yeah,
was banged up all year long, and he took a real regression on his defense this year. I don't know what was up with that.
his
When he's
ankle,
on, he's
man.
the best. But like this year, he just was not great.
That's the thing. They're getting older too. Those older guards on defense don't tend to age that well, but we'll
Yeah, I
see.
think a full off season this year, though, I think it's going to help out a lot of guys. Well, not a full
Yeah,
off season, but like a little bit longer, anyways.
yeah, I agree. So what are they going to do? What do you think they should do during this offseason? What's your big check marks to do for a successful offseason for you?
More consistent guard play, I think. You got D. White, Smart, and Brogdon, but like White's starting 60 games, and you got Brogdon 6 man of the year, but he's hurt, and you need somebody that isn't going to be hurt all the time. Smart can't be hurt all the time. You need I want to get like a quick guard that can get downhill or something like that. Maybe you can trade Brogdon for somebody.
You want to move off of Brogdon?
Maybe that's Brogdon and Smart are two pieces you can move off of. Easiest, anyways. Like,
Well, Derek White has the most value out of any of them.
he also gets paid the least out of any of them. That's why you want to keep him with the new CBA coming up.
So who do you want to target?
I don't know who you can target. I mean, I was never very good with coming up with these trades. The only trades I came up with were Jaylen Brown trades because that was a big talk whether we're going to re-sign him or not. And
Where it appears that we're going to,
yeah, I mean the
if he
talks
would
are
like it.
if he wants to, and it's a big thing.
And I think he just bought a place in the Seaport.
Yeah, that's what the rumors are. So we'll see. I mean, if we keep him around, I'm not going to be mad about it. If we move on from him and we get a big chunk for him, then I wouldn't be mad about that either. We're kind of in a good spot here because we have two top 25 players in the league right now.
Well, he's coming back next year regardless. Right?
Unless he's traded. Yeah. Unless
we
he
trade him, yeah.
hey, I'm not re-signing with you guys, then we'll trade him.
You still wouldn't play a whole year with him if he said he's not coming back?
No, because then you're going to lose him for nothing.
Yeah, but you could win a championship with him. And you can always hope that he changes his mind.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, I guess. It's like you keep him, and you don't win, you just lost him for nothing. You trade him, you get a bunch for him, you don't win, then you didn't win.
And it's not like you lose him for nothing. You lose him. You do get nothing for him, right? But you get his cap space. Yeah. And you can build that around Tatum.
Sure. Well, that's also like banking a lot on guys actually wanting to come to Boston and like that. And like, what if next year we just shit down our leg and nobody wants to come play for him?
That ain't gonna happen. Jalen and Jason like secure you 40 wins minimum every year, unless God forbid one of them gets hurt.
I think they probably secure you about 50 wins a year between the two of them.
Yeah, like that.
They go off and get you a win every night.
You're always gonna be in the mix with those two guys together.
Grant,
and also, I think a lot of people would want to come play with Tatum.
I know. I mean, his playmaking this year took a huge step forward, so I think that a lot of guys would probably be fine with that, not having the ball in their hands as much.
He's one of the most marketable guys in the NBA. He's young. He seems like he's in that like echelon of players who are all buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
friendly,
easy
to get along with, easy to play with.
I went to Draymond Green's wedding right after Draymond like fucking dookied on us in the finals, and LeBron was there, all the Chris Paul, all the people, Steph were all there. So he's in that fraternity, if you will, of guys that people like.
Trade Jaylen Brown for LeBron James straight up.
I wouldn't say no to that.
That would be so weird.
LeBron and Tatum together, that would be fucking awesome. Holy shit.
Yeah, that would be wild. And even like you don't even have to force LeBron to play that many games. It's like, hey, Tatum likes to play every game anyways, so LeBron
don't have to worry about the point guard issue. LeBron's just a point guard.
Yeah, hey LeBron, you want to take a night off against the Oklahoma City Thunder because we don't need you to win? Sure, go take a night off. That's fine.
Fuck. But unrealistic. I think it's pretty much in stone that LeBron's going back to the Lakers. I know he's saying it's not, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, his son just went to UCLA, I think.
USC. Same area.
Yeah, I mean, they're both right next to LA, so he's gonna be staying in LA just so he can watch his son play and stuff
Yeah,
like that. He's not going anywhere. And then when his son gets drafted to whoever, then that's where he's going to go.
maybe
Or
the
he's going to
Lakers
tell
will suck
Lakers,
bad
hey,
enough.
he's going to tell Lakers, hey, trade Anthony Davis for my son right now, or I'm going to leave.
I think Jenny Buss would be like, "All right, LeBron, bye. Have a good
Oh,
trip."
that organization is broke. They need all the jersey sales from LeBron.
How are the Lakers broke? You keep saying that. How are they broke? They're the fucking Lakers. They're like the most marketable franchise in sports.
Making money? I don't know. I've heard they don't make any money over there.
I can't believe that. There's no way that's true.
Broke boys.
Does Boston Celtics make money, but the Los Angeles Lakers don't?
Well, it depends on ownership because I think Jeannie Buss and them, I think all they do is own the Lakers. But like Wick Grossbeck owns a bunch of shit. Like you look at Steve Ballmer, he owns Microsoft. He's making money off of Microsoft.
You're telling me the Lakers aren't making money, but the Clippers are? That's
No, I'm
nuts.
talking about ownership. I'm talking about what the ownership does outside of.
Oh, you're saying the buses are like broke.
They only own the Lakers. So if the Lakers aren't like winning, then then they're not making money. So if the Lakers aren't selling,
sell it.
that's what I'm saying. But they've owned that. The buses have owned it forever. But like look at
Since
Ballmer.
1979.
Ballmer, like he doesn't even need the Clippers. That's just his fucking. That's his little fun money. Like he built a whole new stadium for him just because he could.
And that stadium looks fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not going to be anybody to fill it up.
There's so many bathrooms in it. That was his big thing. Like, if you're buying a ticket here, we want you in your seats buying shit. So we got like 1,000 bathrooms in this fucking thing.
And unfortunately for them, the biggest turd is fucking on the court playing basketball. The team.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, so my Celtics offseason moves is obviously re-up Brown. I'm on the re-up Brown and run it back until the wheels fall off camp. Grant Williams, this hand surgery issue might be a gift to the Celtics if we could somehow afford him, and that brings his number down. I'd like to see him come back with the fixed hand, but most likely he's probably gone. Especially if you want to re-up Brown, there's just no way you can afford him on top of all the other salaries. Just run it back, man. Get Gallinari's coming back. Fill out that bench with more Sam Cassell-esque player coaches like that. The coaching bench, I mean. So Missoula can have some tried and true coaching experience to rely on when his is obviously getting exposed as it did. But yeah.
That's going to happen as a first-year coach, a young coach. I mean, you're not going to be the best coach. Doesn't matter if your team is the best. Sometimes the other coach is going to be better than you, and that happens. Like,
I mean, Emi Udoka got exposed.
I don't get people like crying to fire the guy. I mean, he's been here 1 year. Like, if I told you that the Orlando Magic had 4 coaches in 4 years, what would you say about that organization?
Bad team.
And that's what we wanted to do with the Celtics organization when you have 2 superstars that you're trying to keep happy just so that you can keep them to stay. Like if Tatum's looking at this going, I have my 4th coach in 4 years, what the hell's going to happen next year? Like, why am I sticking around here?
I mean, like the guy went to the Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I think if we just extract ourselves, it's not we expect a championship this year as fans. That's really hard to do for any coach.
The path was laid out for us, though.
Yeah, but even you say that,
you lost to the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, it would be one thing, but you lost to the Heat, so it looks even worse.
Yeah, you say that, but the Nuggets were waiting for we're waiting, I think, for any team on the East.
But we wanted to at least make the finals. Like the path was laid out for us to make the finals. You couldn't have had an easier run than you did. And the bad part is that the coaching is what kind of let you down, and the players didn't show up either. So let's not take them off the hook. But
I mean,
the more apparent thing was the coaching, and that's the easier one to blame. That's the scapegoat whenever a team doesn't succeed at the level that you think that they should. It's always the coach, not the players. But it's just not a good look when you lose the Heat and not the Bucks.
So whose fault is it that the Heat are down 3 games?
I mean, well, yeah, they ran into a coach that's not all, I should say almost as good, but still a really good coach in Mike Malone. Or Michael. Malone. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Michael. Don't hurt me. You didn't, and like we talked earlier, inconsistencies with the Celtics has been their problem for the last 3 or 4 years. And the Nuggets do not have inconsistencies. They just go out there and this is what we're going to do. And we're going to run this set at this time. And all right, we need a bucket. and they're running this defense. All right, let's run this set. They've been together a while. They know what they're doing, and also they have a guy who had 30, 20, and 10 in a finals game, so that's also pretty helpful.
Yeah. I forgot what point we were just trying to make.
You think Grant is coming back on a cheaper deal because he was projected to get about 15 a year? Do you think that you can maybe get him for 10 or 12 with a team option on the second year because he's coming off of an injury? Because I would take that.
Yeah.
We still have some money left over. The CBA goes into effect not this summer but next summer. So this summer is kind of like get your books in order.
You said player. You said player option.
A team option for the second year. You can't give him a player option.
I think it
because he's going to take the player option on the second year.
Well, I think that might be the only way you could get that number that low.
You think so? Maybe player option for 10 or 12 for the second year too.
Yeah, and you structure it so that the cap rises so it's like a tiered. The more, like he'll make more money at the end of the contract.
Did you put incentives in contracts, or is it just the All NBA incentives? Can you put like $1 million incentive? You shoot better than 40% from three or something like that, or?
I think you can, because it wasn't there a famous thing with a Portland Trailblazers player to hit like a certain amount of threes in 1 year, and like the last game of the season he had to hit like 3 and he hit it and he made like $5 million extra dollars.
I remember.
Was it Nick Batum?
It might have been Batum, and there's also like
I think it was Maurice Harkless.
Yeah, there's also like the games played ones too, where it's like, all right, if you can play 70 games this year because you've been injury prone, we'll give you a little bit extra or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think there might be incentives like that.
So maybe you can incentive. Maybe you can guarantee him $2 million worth of incentives for like games played, and should give him an extra $5 million and make an All NBA defensive team.
Yeah, that's a lofty goal for him. That's a pretty stacked position group.
Yeah. The forwards are pretty tough to break into that.
He might not even be the best one on his own team.
No, he's definitely not. He's probably the third best front court player on defense on his own team.
Yeah.
But I think if you can get him back on that kind of number, I would take that.
Of course. I think Grant Williams, I would like to see him come back. I think his playoffs did a lot to make up for his season.
Lackluster at last half of the season. I thought he was a spark in the playoffs.
The way he fought until the end, and I really respect that about him.
Yeah, we need guys like that.
He got in Jimmy Butler's face, and the people beat him up for that. I thought that was a great thing to do, because that's the type of guy Jimmy Butler is. If you can give it right back to him and get in his mix and fucking rattle him a little bit, I respect. Not that I'm saying he was rattled, but if you at least try, if you don't just take your beating passively.
Yeah,
although tough. I mean, he didn't play. You could say that, but Jimmy Butler has not been playing that well the past 2 weeks.
Oh, that ankle injury is really creeping up on him. He just looks tired.
He did not play well the last half of that Celtics series.
Oh, I mean, well, yeah, game 3 had 28, I think, so it wasn't like he's been playing bad. But
but when the Celtics went on the run,
he can't do everything either. Like, teams are just starting like, all right, just gonna load up on him.
I mean, it just so happened that Caleb Martin decided to play like a $15 million to $20 million a year player. Like,
for one,
he's
series.
The second best player in the series.
Yeah, then now this series he's like
awful,
breaking everything, just terrible. So Jimmy's like, oh no.
But yeah, so I do respect Grant Williams. I do the gumption, if you will.
Gumption, baby.
I respect the most out of him. He sometimes it works against him.
It does.
Like the famous when Donovan Mitchell was like, "Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna make them both," and then he bricks them. So not great.
I like a guy like that though. We need a guy with some fire, because like these guys don't play with fire. Most of them. Smart's not that guy anymore.
I think Smart is kind of, but he does a weird thing where he's like, I think he's been in the league long enough now where he's another person who's friends with every other person on the other side.
Yeah,
Grant Williams is what, 24 years old, 23? Like, he hasn't been in the league that long.
Well, he's got to be friends with everybody though too. He's the vice president of the Players
He's the VP of the Players Association. Yeah,
so is Brogdon.
And Jalen, isn't Jalen?
Jalen's up there too somewhere.
Yeah, and Tatum obviously is like, he just seems like he's even keel all the time.
He's the most even keeled person I've ever seen. I don't know if Jason Tatum's ever been mad in his life.
If I could have that amount of mental like stability of just being even keel, even with, I mean, he sometimes he gets angry, right? Like obviously you can see when he gets hacked and he goes to the rim, he's like freaking out on the bench when the team's getting blown out. He's like, man, fuck this. Like that's normal shit. But you never seen him get up in somebody's face other than the time he dunked on LeBron, which was really cool. One of the best Celtics moments in recent memory.
Pretty sweet.
But other than that, he's just like, he's cool as a cuke, man. And I respect that about him. But I do like a little bit of fire too.
Yeah, I like a little bit of fire, but I think it's just weird to expect these guys to be something that they're not. Like, I'm never gonna look at Jason Tatum and be like, why don't you play with fire? Why aren't you yelling at everybody? Like, that's not who he is. He's become more vocal over the last few years on the bench and telling guys, hey, we need to do this and that. But I'm never gonna expect him to be like, Kobe, like yelling at somebody on the bench or screaming at his coach or whatever. Like, it's not who he is.
But that is what people really like and respect about those guys, is that they were like that.
Yeah,
Kobe Bryant, his personality is what makes Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, that's what makes Kobe Kobe, which I get. But I don't expect somebody to change their entire personality because we gave him a big contract. You know what I mean? Like, that's who he is. That's brought him into the league, and that's what's going to make him successful in the league.
He's successful regardless. For his personal life, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's good to be that even keel of a person. It's not necessarily a great thing to be that fiery and hot headed. But when the other guy on the other side, like Jimmy Butler, is giving it to you like that, and you're just sitting there taking it, I get a little upset when nobody gives it back to him. And that's why, and I know this seems foolish, but Jason Tatum is an infinitely better player than Marcus Smart ever could be and is. And I love Jason Tatum's game more than Marcus Smart's, but I will forever think Marcus Smart is my favorite player from the past decade. Just because he was that guy. He fights his ass off like night in, night out.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. That's what makes guys favorites. I mean, like, I used to like Kendrick Perkins used to be one of my favorites because like he would mean mug a guy and he'd get right up in you. He let nothing go over his head. So
Kevin Garnett, he was like the spark plug for the team.
Yeah, it was wild.
But that's enough about the Celtics. I think we know what is probably going to happen here. We'll obviously want Grant back if we can get him for a nice price. Mm-hmm. But moving on to other offseason drama. Where do you want to start? Ja Morant? You want to just start with him first, and then you want something serious?
Let's work our way down to the funny business.
Yeah, so Ja Morant, gun issues. What the hell, dude?
Hard do. Like, come on, my guy. Claimed as a toy. Did you see that?
I saw a Twitter rumor. I didn't know if it was true. He's saying it's a gun, a toy.
That's what it is. People are claiming is that it's a toy gun on the thing. Like,
that makes you look even fucking dumber.
Yeah. Well, what point why would you be carrying around a toy gun anyways? I don't. What's the objective? Is we're not 8 years old playing cowboys and natives over here. Like,
well, I don't even know why he's doing it to begin with. Why are you flexing with guns, dude? Everybody probably knows you have one. We've seen your other videos. We know you probably have a gun on you. Like, you're not. Nobody thinks it's that cool.
Where does it get you? Like, all it does is hurt you. It doesn't help you in any way. If you need to have a gun on you at some point, you have enough money, you can hire somebody to walk around that can legally carry one.
Yeah.
You're really that worried about it.
It's just nonsense. It's tomfoolery. And, I think there's probably something going on with him mentally that he needs to work out, that he obviously has not worked out the first time where he got in major trouble for brandishing guns. But
Adam Silver announcement, like, we have more info on the Ja Morant thing, and then we're not gonna tell you anything until after the finals. Like, okay, well, like, now
that's all anybody can think about.
Thinking about outside of the finals, because like we know it's the finals, so obviously it's the finals. But like, there's 3 days between games half the time. What do you think we're gonna be talking about for 3 days after you made this announcement?
And the way he said it, it makes it sound like it's going to be like an unprecedented fucking suspension. Like, well, it's not. There is precedent with Gilbert. That's crazy. How much Gilbert missed the whole season?
Yeah, but the thing about Gilbert's was that he had it on team property.
Yeah,
Like he
on
had it
the
on.
airplane, didn't they were
They
pulling guns
found it
on
on
each
the
other in the locker room, right?
locker room and on the airplane too. So that's
Yeah,
the big thing with Gilbert's.
you cannot have that shit going on. But this, so like, I think a whole year is obviously that would be ridiculous. A half a year is like, holy crap, you
So
know.
what's this do going forward if he does get a half a year? Do you start like you start moving pieces and try and like
Teams
rebuild?
usually move on from this type of guy.
What's his
Yeah.
value? You
Oh,
think you're gonna
I
high
trade Jalen
ground?
Brown for John Morant in a second.
I don't want him on this team.
Why?
Well, for one, he's injury prone now. Like he's been injured almost every year so far because of the
Jalen.
way.
So is Jalen Brown.
Yeah, but one of them's going to get a much bigger contract, and he's also not going to play for half the year already, and then he's going to be injury prone for the other half of the year.
I
And on
he's
top
a
of
better
that,
player than Jalen Brown.
yeah, I mean I can't argue that, but I'll take Jalen Brown for 50 something games over John Morant for 20 something.
I I would trade. He's still
And
the most
also,
marketable star in the NBA. That's like under 25.
he's more marketable than
You got to say Luca.
Luka.
Yeah, he's
Oh yeah,
American.
Luka don't talk either. That's the big thing. He doesn't like talking. But like you say, John Morant's marketable. Like not anymore. Not after he gets a
Well,
41 game suspension for having guns twice.
his shoes still out. Ryan Russillo was talking on the program when he not too long ago. He went to the Nike store out in somewhere in LA, I think, or like one of the big major Nike stores, and the guy's like, "We can't get you any John Morants. We can get you the Tatum's. We can get you who's the other new shoe they dropped? I can't remember. But we can get you any other shoe. We just can't get you the Morants. They're all sold out except for one colorway." And it's like his shoes outsell everybody's by like it's probably the biggest shoe that's selling right now.
Is that a little bit of hey, he's marketable, or is it also like hey, this guy might not ever have another shoe again? These might be worth a lot of money down the road.
No, no,
Because you know,
it's that
shoeheads,
he's people
you know,
want to like
sneakerheads do that.
yeah for sure, but people are like you know he's John Morant. He's the coolest young. He flies. He's like doing the sick ass dunks. He's got a and his personality. We think it's a bet. It's a double edged sword, as you like to say. He is kind of like about it at times. Like he has the guns. He's cool. He's got the big dreads. He's like he's young. He's brandishing guns. Like that's bad, right? But a lot of young kids don't give a shit about that, and they think that's just cool.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little bit of what you said too. Maybe it's like, hey, I got the only pair of John Morants like that were ever released. So, but I mean, I think he'll be back. Like, I think he should get maybe 20 games,
I still think he's probably gonna get 40.
quarter of the season.
It's a stupidity test at this point. It's not even a.
Yeah, he's
It's
failing it.
yeah. It's like that's what they say about
Or
NFL.
he's passing it with flying colors if it's a stupidity test.
That's what they say about the NFL drug test. It's like, hey, you get a letter 3 months in advance. Hey, this state is going to be all of our drug tests of the year. So be clean on this date, and you guys still fail.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a drug test. It's a stupidity test. And it's like this guy's all you have to do is hey, just don't be on Instagram Live with guns. One thing, just one. It's the only thing we ask of you, and you haven't figured out how to not do it yet.
I don't think this will be the last time he's on the news for doing something this stupid. I think he'll probably do it again.
That's what I'm saying. And like you're talking about trading Jalen for a guy who's probably going to get suspended again for this.
Well, you might need to get him out of where he's at.
That's where my trade comes into play.
Let's hear it.
Where I want to trade, well, I don't want to trade, but if you were going to trade Jalen, you trade him to Portland, and you get the Anthony Simons and the three. Swap the three to Memphis for Triple J, and then you shoot over Horford and whatever other salary cap you need to fill that out. Maybe see if you get Valanciunas too.
So
now
your
you have a
team,
veteran player over there with John Morant, who's been around the league and can coach him up a little bit and keep him on his toes. The Grizzlies get the 3 pick so that they can have a good player to carry them this year when John Morant isn't there. And that guy can have the ball in his hands and you can develop him a little bit. And at the 3, they're thinking it's probably going to be Scoot Henderson. So if the Ja Morant stuff is that serious and you want to move off of him, you're still going to get another point guard.
The 3 is going to be Scoot Henderson, you think?
I think 2 is going to Brandon Miller, because the 2 is who's got the 2 this year?
The Hornets.
Well, yeah, the Hornets don't need another guard. They already have LaMelo and Terry Rozier.
Yeah, but Scoot
Probably gonna get a wing.
Scoot Henderson's going to be better than LaMelo.
People are saying Brandon Miller is going to be better than Scoot, so
I
you
can
get
see
Brandon Miller over there for another score. You know, so I mean that would work out beautifully for all teams involved. I think.
I think the Celtics are a lot worse if you do that.
You get Triple J, Anthony Simons, and maybe Jonas Valanciunas, and you have.
Okay. Well, you didn't say that guy.
I was thinking maybe you can get Valanciunas off of him, but you're at least going to get Triple J on that trade. You get more cap room. I think, well, maybe close. Well, you probably get more cap room because you're leaving off of Jalen. You have a clear and cut number 1 in Jason Tatum. There's no more, all right, my turn, your turn. Who's going to get the ball? How do we play off of each other?
So who's your starting shooting guard?
Smart. Anthony Simons, Smart, Jason Tatum, Triple J, and Rob as your starters. And then off the bench, you got Derek White, Brogdon, maybe if he stays, Grant Williams.
Well, Brogdon's on the contract this year.
Yeah. And you got Grant Williams, Brogdon, and White coming off the bench as your first 3.
And Valanciunas. Oh, no, Valanciunas will start.
And Valanciunas if you can get him, yeah.
No, Valanciunas would be on the bench.
Yeah. So
listen, I think that's like one of the best defensive lineups in like recent memory.
Like Simons? I don't know much about Simons.
You have 2 depoys.
Yeah, but you have 2 depoys and a guy who was in the running for a depoy before he got hurt. And Jason Tatum, who's probably a first-team All-NBA defender that doesn't get credit for it. And Grant Williams is coming off your bench, who's not a slouch on defense.
I don't hate that trade. That trade. Now you're talking me into it.
Second-team All-Defense, Derek White coming off the bench too.
You're making me like that.
2 worst defenders are Simons and Brogdon. They can usually get their shot, so you don't really have to worry too much about it.
And Brogdon is a pretty good defender, other than last season, pretty good defender generally.
Yeah. So
he's just a bigger guy, but we'll see.
But
I don't think that's pie in the sky type shit. I don't think that's gonna happen.
That's a wild pie in the sky because everything has to work out perfectly. Like Portland has to want that trade, and then on top of that, then Memphis has to want that trade too.
Is Memphis a lot worse? Memphis is a lot worse in the interim.
Well, you get the 3.
Worse.
Well, you get the 3. You're getting Horford.
But they already have Desmond Bane,
and they have maybe if you can't get Valanciunas, you still have Valanciunas, the 3 pick, which is probably going to be Scoot. So your starting lineup over there would be Scoot, Desmond Bane, Valanciunas, Steven Adams, and I don't know who. I don't know the Grizzlies lineup that well. But that's if they're also trying to get off of Ja Morant.
They need a wing. If they could maybe get Brandon Miller, they'd do that.
Yeah, or they can get Brandon Miller or Scoot. Either way, it works out for them because you're going to get a wing to play with Ja, or you're going to get a guard to replace Ja, and you can trade Ja for something. Like you said, he's very tradable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good time to buy low on Ja Morant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully he figures that shit out. We'll see. His suspension is looming, and it sounds like Adam Silver is going to bring the thunder.
Wait, he's gonna try and slide. Silver's gonna try and slide the suspension out like during another sporting event. We got any big sporting events coming up that he can kind of just slide it in there right before it starts?
No.
The NBA Finals is the biggest one going on right now.
What a goofy thing to be like, all right, well, suspension's pending. We'll let you know after the finals. And that's all anybody can think about now.
Yeah.
Just rip the Band-Aid off right before the finals start, and everybody knows. And we're like, okay, he's getting 30 games. One of your marquee
superstars is going to be suspended. And you're going to take away from the Heat and Nuggets, who deserve all the attention right now.
Not a great finals to begin with.
I think it's a great finals. As a basketball fan, I think it is.
Yeah.
Your common fan is like, who the fuck is Gabe Vincent?
I'm talking about market-wise.
Bruce Brown, who the fuck is that guy? Why are they saying that Braun guy? His name is Brown. That's what they're thinking. But like, as
It's
a
not
hoop
two
fan,
great
it's great.
markets. It's two medium sized, just low small sized markets going against each
Yeah,
other.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
talking for the
Miami
NBA. Obviously, if you're a hoops fan, you're like, okay, this is fucking phenomenal.
this is sick. Like two teams that are going to play. Like even the Heat last night in that game, they were down big and they just fought their way back to make it a game, make it a little interesting, which I love that about the game.
It's two legacy storylines going on. It's
And
Jimmy
it's
Butler's
Jimmy get
legacy
one.
and it's Jokic's.
Yeah, and Jimmy, unfortunately, I don't think Jimmy's ever going to get one.
But he cemented himself in like as one of the best players I think of all time with this playoff run. Where what he's done over the span of his career is outstanding. The fact that this Heat team's been as consistently good as it's been since he's been there.
The only player to ever have a 40-point triple double in the finals too.
Really?
Yeah, he did that against LeBron in the bubble.
No shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
he put up some wild shit in the playoffs.
Yeah, Bill Simmons said he secured himself in the top 100 players too.
Yep, him and Jokic are both top 100 players to ever play the game at this point in their careers. And Jimmy is getting towards the end of his career, and Jokic just kind of hitting his prime. But I can't see Jokic slowing down in the next 3 or 4 years. I can't remember who was saying that. I think it was somebody on Bill Simmons' podcast. It's like it's not like he's going to lose his athleticism in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
doesn't have any.
it's not like that. We got to worry about that cliff.
Not even jumping over the phone book at this point. Like the
Yeah,
guy, it's like whatever, turn around, flip shot, that's gonna go in. He's got the old man YMCA game. It's never gonna go away.
yeah. So that's interesting. That's an interesting storyline. But moving on to something else, maybe a little bit more interesting, a little bit more heady, if you mind the pun. Zion Williamson and is in a torrid or a tawdry love affair with two ladies. Don't know the first name.
That we know of.
First lady, yeah, that we know of. His
There's been
baby
others that have come
mama.
out. There's been others that have come out and said it too.
Nice, but the most famous one being adult film actress Mariah Mills has come out with a long Twitter thread about text messages about Zion buying her everything, moving her
50
out.
tweets long.
Yeah, it's too long to read. No bullshit. I lost interest about halfway through.
I
But
would like to read.
it's very funny that she was airing out all the dirty laundry because he had a gender reveal party for his with his baby mama. And it all dropped after that. Mariah Mills said that she was gonna move out there with him. Zion made all these promises. She was like
He's
banging
gonna pay
him.
for her to live there and
Yeah.
stuff. And yeah, it's dirty. It's dirty. I mean, it's messy. That's for sure. She comes out all this after the baby gender reveal.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh yeah, all the hopefully health to the mama and the baby. Very messy, but it's like on the one hand, infidelity obviously no bueno. Like you got a girl pregnant and you're still over here messing around. Like let's.
I don't know if that's infidel. What if that's like their relationship? I don't think we don't know what the status of
That's
the relationship.
true. It's true that we don't know what his relationship with the baby mama is like.
I think he
But
obviously made some promises to Miss Mills that he
did.
he didn't live up to, or what he didn't clue her in on some key information. So
yeah, and she might not have known about the baby mama, or I don't know how. I haven't really been looking down Zion Williamson's socials or whatever to find out, but it's kind of messy for him to be promising her all this, that, and the third, and it's a transactional relationship, and now all of a sudden it's being aired out on the
and we're privy to it.
Well,
there was
the way I
go
look
ahead.
at it, I think that he might have been promising Mrs. Mills a little bit more than what we're being told, and alluding to things that weren't really going to happen, and that's why she's feeling a little slighted or upset about it. But you give a fucking 22-year-old man $190 million contract, it's like things are probably going to happen when you're living out there in New Orleans and you're the face of a franchise.
Yeah. Zion. So there was another thing. Not that this might as well be a Bill Simmons report podcast. Another thing they were talking about.
Podcast.
they're talking about in those text messages, the 50 tweet, thread. There was text from or Miss Mills was talking about getting Zion in shape, being like, You told us about. We both told you like just references to him getting into shape
Yeah,
and
I wanted this
making
for
sure
you.
his diet was like intact and stuff. Like references to his body image. Obviously, that is the big issue with Zion is him getting into adequate shape to play for a full season. Injuries have obviously marred his career to date, and your physical body is obviously a key to that. So the fact that his baby mama and his mistress or his side piece or whatever you want to call it have referenced that getting Zion into shape is an important thing in his life. It obviously means that he's talked about it. It weighs on him. He's part and parcel to the Twitter rumors about him being overweight and not being, taking his career seriously. And I think that's obviously the key story here is that Zion is cognizant that his body is affecting his career, or it is or it isn't, and he thinks about it. Because he's the type of, I don't know. I've never heard Zion Williamson speak. I don't think like he's the guy who keeps things under lock and key. Generally, he's pretty good at that. Besides this, obviously. So he, him. This is pretty controversial, I suppose. Like, what is going to happen with Zion? What do they do? What do the Pelicans do with him?
I don't think this affects what the Pelicans do with him. I mean, this isn't John Morant with a gun. This is Zion Williamson spitting in another lady's mouth.
No, this is arguably more pressing. I'm talking more about his. Will
His
he
weight
ever
limit?
figure it out? Yeah.
That's where you signed the guy to a $190 million contract. You better run it out. Like, you better commit all you can to him. I mean, how many years into this contract is he? 2, 3?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he's 22 years old.
He's only got 1 or 2 more years left on the contract, maybe. So at this point, he's been too injury prone. You can't trade him.
I don't know if that's true.
Do you think you can get what you want for a trade from him though? That's where it comes down to, because it's not like the Pelicans have anything else. They'll have Brandon Ingram, but like, are you really, who are you gonna bring in to help you out though? Like, are you gonna trade Zion? Could you trade Zion for the 3 pick?
Would you trade Jaylen Brown for Zion Williamson?
Not even close. They're both gonna play the same amount of games, but one of them is a better chance they're gonna play more.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's not that
prone recently too. So
I feel like getting Zion out of New Orleans is probably the key thing.
Would you trade Brown for Zion?
I would.
You think so? You really are.
20.
You talk all this about keeping Brown around and wanting to re-sign him, but every time a trade comes up, you say, "Yeah, let's trade Brown for this guy." So,
well, Zion's 28, 8-5 a night.
is he 28, 8-5? Really?
When he plays, he's like outstanding. Let me look out his numbers.
Games a year he plays, he's 28, 8-5.
And Boston, I think, is the perfect city for. He ain't gonna get in trouble. Zion ain't gonna get in trouble in Boston. Just like how fucking John Morant wouldn't get in trouble with guns around here. You can't fucking own a gun. It's almost impossible.
Well, I mean, we don't even know if the guns he had where he was were legal, so I don't think that legally owning a gun is the problem with John Morant.
But you can't even get access to him, and his buddies are not that close. Yeah, Zion is 26, 7, and 4.5 a night.
Yes,
last season.
5. That's pretty good.
On 61% from the field, shooting 37% from 3.
How many games he play?
He played 29 games this year. That's obviously the issue. Right? He's played 114 games for his career.
In how many years?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So he's averaging 25, not even 25 games a year.
That is brutal.
Yeah, he's averaging less than 24 games a year.
No, he hasn't been in the league 5 years. No, he's been in 4 years. Sorry,
4 years. So
yeah.
28.
In 2019, he played 24 games. His rookie year, he played 24 games. And his sophomore year, he played 61 games. Not great, not bad. 2021, 2022, he did not play at all. And last season, he played 29 games.
Yeah. I might be out on this trade.
Fuck.
That's where it's like, what can you trade him for? If you just look at the games played, because like you say, the best ability is availability, and this man is not available most of the time. And
I
the
don't know.
amount that you're paying him to not be available is a lot.
I think he's a great buy young candidate. He's only 22. He's going to be 23 next season.
Do you swap him and Ja?
No, you already
The
have Triple J.
1 and 2 picks in that draft, do you swap them? You run Ja Morant and who's not going to play half the year, and you got Zion Williamson who's not going to play half the year, and
No,
then you
no.
got the Pelicans get Ja Morant and Brandon Miller or Brandon Ingram, sorry, and then the Grizzlies run out Zion and whoever else.
I'd see if I could get him to like Portland, Sacramento, Oklahoma City. I
Should you do a
think
three
him.
pick for him?
I would.
You have to match some salaries though, right?
Yeah. Bye, Nurkic. See you later, dude.
But yeah, I don't even know if that's even enough because Nurkic is making, I think Nurkic is making 18-20 million a year, something like that, right?
I
But
don't. I don't
now
think Cap's. I don't
Nurkic,
think Cap is going to be the thing that holds that Trailblazers trade back. I think they'd make it work.
oh, they have enough cap, yeah.
Um.
Does that help Dame enough to make
Yeah,
him
he has a
stay?
second star on his team. Finally.
He basically had a second start for his whole career.
Yeah,
The,
and CJ
the big chunk
McCollum.
where he had LaMarcus Aldridge, and then he had a big chunk where he had CJ McCollum.
Yeah, but Dame last year was like Dame's best year. He had nobody on his team.
That's why it was his best year because it was like, hey, Dame, do everything, please.
Yeah. But I think if get him a second star, he ain't gonna get in any trouble in Portland. It's not a foodie city. It's not like a bar city. It's not a drinking city. It's he can stay out of trouble in Portland.
I mean, I don't hate that.
I don't know. He's a great buy low candidate. And there's no porn stars from Portland, or Portland's not a big porn city, I guess. So you won't be seeing Miss Mills.
But it's also
Maybe
another
you
thing.
will.
Is like, all right, we talk about these guys not getting in trouble where they are, but like they're only spending half the year here. Like John Morant, when he got in trouble, he wasn't in Memphis. He was back home in South Carolina. Like you still have to wait the whole off season where you have to rely on this guy to not be a dickhead.
What if you're San Antonio? Would you trade like
I'm not trading anything if I'm San Antonio. You're
trade
Victor
Keldon
Wembanyama.
Johnson
You're
and
Victor Wembanyama. Nobody else is taking the ball out of Victor Wembanyama's hands for the next year and a half.
you wouldn't want to trade like Keldon Johnson and fucking whatever the Collins kid is, Zach Collins for Zion Williamson in
No,
your next pick, first round pick.
no.
You run out a team of like
Yes. I want
Devin
Victor Wembanyama.
Vassell,
I want Victor
Victor.
Wembanyama to have the ball in his hand as much as possible, and I want him to develop as much as possible.
Yeah,
And then
Zion
guess
ain't gonna
what?
take the ball out of his hand. He's not a ball handler.
Oh, he's getting, what do you say, 26, 7, and 4. So he has the ball in his hand enough to get 5 assists a game. Like, that's not a
Yeah.
small amount. That's more assists than Jalen Brown has in a game, and Jalen Brown's a ball handler.
A team of I like team a lot better. A Popovich team of Devin Vassell, Zion Williamson, and Victor Wembanyama a lot better than whatever they're gonna roll it next season.
Yeah. No, it's a better team. I'm not going to argue with it's a better team, but do you want to be a better team, or do you want to have Victor Wembanyama and then get another high draft pick?
No, I think they're gonna be. I think they're gonna try and compete next year.
You think so?
They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of sneaky talent on that team.
Maybe make a
Devin
couple of trades.
Vassell, Keldon
Are
Johnson.
they going to be active this offseason, you think, and making trades for guys?
They could. They have cap.
They got nothing but fucking cap. Holy shit. How do you think the Spurs feel about Victor Wembanyama still playing right now? He's
Probably
playing
not
today.
great.
He's playing today in the championship.
I'd be like, dude, we will pay you an extra $2 million to not play, please.
Oh my god.
Especially with guys that big, man. It's like
That big, that skinny.
anything.
Step on a foot the wrong way and
Yeah, if he breaks his foot, you're not going to see him next year. And those guys are so lanky; their foot bones are like the size of my femur. Like it's like it could snap in half in a second.
I do love the drive of him to keep playing though. Because a lot of guys are like, all right, I'm getting the number 1 pick, I'm not playing anymore. Like there's guys that are gonna get drafted in the 20s, they're telling teams in the teens not to try them out because they don't want to work out anymore.
Yeah, he seems like a guy who's like.
He's got that fire, he's got the competitive edge to him.
I watched
And
an
this team that he's
ESPN
playing,
like documentary on him. He's got it all.
this team that he's playing against is He played them earlier this year, only like 8, 14, and 5 or something like that against them. I think it's Montenegro he's playing against,
Hmm.
and I think this is like his worst game. Like teams ever held him to that bad of playing. That was the game he actually took that step back three that he front rimmed and then went up and put it back himself, which is
Jesus.
just banana land. But that's the worst game he's played because they're throwing all these different scram switches at him and zones and all this different stuff. So I think he really wants to go out there and prove, hey, I can beat this team. I can play better than that. And that's one of those intangibles that you love to see out of a guy that's going to get drafted that high.
Yeah, we just talked about it. I mean, I give me the guy who gives a fuck, gives a serious shit about playing and winning
Not to
10
say
times
that
out of 10.
Tatum doesn't give a shit about winning. I think he really does.
I
But
think he does. Yeah, I think Tatum does
very
care.
low key. He's not going to show you his emotions.
Yeah, no, I think he does care. I think a guy like James Harden comes to mind as the polar opposite of that. You
I
know?
don't think James Harden cares that much about winning.
Yeah, no, obviously, as let's move on to our next thing. Zion, congratulations on the baby. Hopefully everything works out and you play more than 29 games next year.
Congrats on the sex, bro.
Yeah, having lots of it. Good for you. You
Good
figure with all that
cardio.
sex, you'd lose some weight.
Hey, good cardio if you do it right.
Yeah. But give me two moves this offseason that will you think are gonna send them into the league right now. They're happening. Or if you can't do that, give me a move that you really want to see.
I think Chris Paul goes somewhere other than the Suns. I think the
Yeah,
Suns
you
might
just
get.
got bought out, right?
Yeah, they're going to buy him out. They're either going to waive him and then re-sign him for cheaper, or buy him out and just let him go somewhere else. So I think he probably goes somewhere else.
Where do you give me a name? Where would he fit well?
Back to New Orleans.
Yeah, they have CJ McCollum. I mean, I don't mind him as a point guard,
Yeah,
but
you're running CJ. Him. He's a better point guard than CJ, anyways. And he's not going to play that much, so CJ's still going to get his point guard minutes.
he's better
But
than
in games
Jose
that he,
Alvarado.
games, yeah, in games that he does play, you're going to have your starting line is going to be him, CJ, Brandon Ingram, Zion, and whoever else you got for your centers. Or what Herb Jones plays them, right?
He plays power forward, but he's big. Yeah, who's their center? Is
Oh,
it
you got Jackson
Valanciunas?
Hayes.
No, it's
Jackson Hayes.
Valanciunas.
No, he plays for Memphis now.
No. He used to play for Memphis.
Oh, if it's Valanciunas, then even better.
Jonas Valanciunas is currently for the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, he's on the Pelicans.
That's a good lineup. CP3 can facilitate that lineup very well. It's a veteran presence over there. I mean, I don't even because I got CJ and everything, but it's a veteran presence that can maybe get in Zion's ear about some shit. And
Yeah, no,
Ingram.
that will get them to the playoffs, I think. Yeah, obviously, what's
They
going
were
to make
pretty
them
close
go
to
to the
making the playoffs on
playoffs?
their own. Even without Zion last year, they almost made the playoffs.
What's going to make them get to the playoffs is they start playing more than 29
More
games.
than 24 games.
That's the issue with the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I do like the talent on their team. They have enough of a team to make some noise.
He could be a good fit in there. He could be a good fit in Memphis if the John Morant shit goes the way we think it's going to go. Kind of float them for a while until Ja comes back.
A stopgap, yeah.
Who else would be good? Who else needs a really good point guard? Or a really good floor manager, I should say.
Well, if James Harden's going to leave the Sixers,
I would love if Chris Paul went to the Sixers. That would make me so happy. Another choker on the Sixers.
I mean, it's hard to say he's going to be a better.
He was going to get along with anybody, dude. He's going to get along with Joel Embiid. What do you think Joel Embiid's going to do when he yells at him? Joel Embiid's like, okay, well, I'm just going to half-ass the shit out of this game because you're just going to yell at me. So,
No, see, I don't think Joel Embiid's that type of guy. Joel Embiid, I think he wants to win.
I think he wants to win too, but I think that if Joel Embiid has 30 and 10 and Chris Paul is yelling at him and Chris Paul has 6 points and 5 assists, I think Joel Embiid's going to look at him and go, I'm an MVP. Why are you yelling at me?
Although you saw it the other way around, James Harden didn't give a fuck, and Joel Embiid was yelling at him in the playoffs.
Yeah. And also James Harden won them multiple games in that playoff series. So
definitely, and that's what I'm saying.
Chris Paul's
Talk
not going
about
to win you any games in a playoff series.
you're not going to get a better point guard in the league than James Harden, right? I mean, he led the league in assists.
Yeah.
So.
Another guy that Chris Paul choked with.
Yeah, and you saw that they obviously can't work that out well together. So
yeah, shit. There's a lot of places Chris Paul could go. I mean,
but a Chris Paul, Joel Embiid pick and roll. I
He
wouldn't hate
fits
it.
in most places. I don't want him on
Yeah,
the Celtics.
yeah. He's like a puzzle piece that fits everywhere.
Everybody's talking about trading Smart and getting him. It's like you're just gonna get worse.
No, that's ridiculous. Yeah, no. Joe,
You get
the
much
Smart was a
worse
better point
defender.
guard than Chris Paul was last year.
Chris Paul averaged more assists than he did, but
By how much? Not by much. Couldn't have
two
been.
or three, I think.
Marcus Smart had his career high in assists last year, right?
It was like 5 or 6, and Smart, and I think that he was getting 7 or 8 for CP3. But Smart shot a better percentage for the whole year, so it's like, why do I want a guy who's gonna shoot worse?
And
Well, we
not play
already have
defense.
Smart shooting, and then we're gonna get a guy who shoots worse. And another move I think will happen this off season. Who's moving?
Come on, James Harden to the Rockets, obviously.
Yeah, that's probably that's so dirty that that's happening while he's still under contract too. Like he's still the player option that he's thinking about taking, and they're still just like, nah, he's leaving.
I'll pack his bags for him. See you later, dude. Get off the team.
That Rockets team's gonna be so bad too.
Well, it's like, what are they doing?
Even with James Harden on, they're gonna be bad. Like you got Ime Udoka, like because the whole thing was defense. It's like, let's bring James Harden onto this team. That'll work out well. He's a really big defender.
Well, and also Ime will get in players' asses. You've seen it.
Let's see how James Harden reacts to that. Hey, this is a second-year coach yelling at me, and I'm a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah. And they already have a lot of offense. They just don't have any defenders.
No, and they also just have a bunch of guys do the same thing. It's like I've heard people say it's like watching AAU ball, where it's like they get a lot of offensive rebounds because the guy who has the ball is going to shoot it, so everybody else knows to crash the glass because they're not going to touch the ball. So that's one of those.
All right.
What you got going on in this offseason?
No, I mean James Harden. Obviously, I think although it says he's torn about leaving, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that he's going, especially considering they have Nick Nurse as their head coach now.
40-something minutes a game played every game. He's like, I don't want to do that.
What else? What's a move I would like to see? I mean, we talk about a lot of moves I would like to see. Mostly it's young stars coming to the Celtics. That's most of the moves I would like to see.
I too would like everybody to come to the Celtics.
I think the Bucks will probably do something. I don't know what, though.
That's true. They do need to shake it up over there because I don't think it was coaching. I mean, coaching didn't help him out in that series. I mean, Bud's kind of an overrated coach, to be honest. He's a good coach, not a bad coach by any stretch, but I don't think coaching's what lost him that one. I think there was a lot of stagnation in that lineup, and they've been doing the same thing every year. It worked one year.
They have no wing defense.
Yeah, Chris Middleton was supposed to be their big wing defender, and he's not that good anymore.
He's
Drew
old.
Holiday's still unbelievable on defense. Like,
That's why I think it's going to be Brook Lopez, and Brook Lopez is probably going to go somewhere else because he's a free agent, and then Chris. If I try and move Chris Middleton for something,
trade Middleton
and use Brook Lopez's money in the free agency for like, I don't even know who you get. It's not a great free agency class.
Trade Middleton and sign and trade Lopez for Brandon Ingram.
Oh, I do that.
Do you think the Pelicans would do that? You need a guy that's going to play. And Zion's not going to play. You get Chris Middleton's 25 a game, then you get Brook Lopez's defense in the center with Jonas Valanciunas.
Who is a defensive center already?
You get spread the floor with threes too. Brook Lopez shot over 35% from three last year, I think.
I don't think if you're New Orleans, you move on for Brandon Ingram unless you're getting picks.
Yeah, and the Bucks don't have any picks, obviously, because they're the best record in the league last year.
But that would be a nice team.
If you got a big scoring wing, do you trade Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez to Portland for the 3?
No.
Does Portland do that?
Chris Middleton and Portland. All right, say what's the trade?
Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez to Portland for the 3 and whoever else to make the money match.
No. How does that make anybody better?
I mean, well, Portland gets a big because they don't have any bigs over there, right?
That's a who says no faster trade. Portland, who's like about, I know they said they want to build around Dame, but it's like
Pulling Sharp in the three because they don't want to draft a guy at 19 years old because Damian's going to be dead by the time the guy hits his prime. He's old. That's the problem. So it's
Yeah,
like you
but
got
the
to get
Bucks don't get any better either.
the Bucks can get Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson out there with Giannis.
That ain't winning them anything in the interim. And Giannis is already, what, 28, 29, 30, about to be 30.
Doesn't win him anything in the interim, but it gets you something going forward though.
I
You
think
get you,
Giannis is sneaky a
a bunch
candidate to
of
leave soon. I don't know what the Bucks can do.
I don't think Giannis is that kind of guy to leave, and you can't trade him.
You
Giannis
say
is
that.
got five guys in the league that you can't trade.
You say that, but he
Unless
might.
they request trades.
Yeah, he might be a guy who I think if they start not winning or coming close to winning, you're starting to see the cracks a little bit.
Well, I think they'll do whatever they can to keep him happy because that's a generational player.
But what
He
can
might
they
be
do?
he might be the what? He's probably a top 5 European born player to ever play the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's been, him, Jokic, and are two have the chance of being the two closest to top 25 all time players.
Yeah.
If they're not already on their way. But yeah, but it's not their fault that they've reinvested in a team that's too old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You gotta start getting younger again. You gotta start bringing in guys that can spark.
But they're not going to win in the interim by doing that.
No, but you're not winning now with what you got either.
But that's
So
why
it's
I'm
like
saying I think
you're
that
under
I
the
think
cap
it's
for the CBA coming up, and then you can open up more cap space to bring in other free agents too. Bring James Harden over to the Bucks.
I wouldn't hate that.
You could trade what you can to get the 3 from Portland, and then bring James Harden over, and then you got hopefully.
Well, actually, I would hate that. As a Celtics fan, I would hate James Harden going to the Bucks.
Oh yeah, well, here's the part that I forgot: is that James Harden and Giannis Antetokounmpo don't like each other. So,
Really, why?
James Harden said all he does is run and dunk.
Yeah, and all James Harden does is run and flop.
Exactly, but Giannis is too nice to say anything about it. So, that would be a fun team.
The Bucks got to. I say the Bucks are going to probably do something because they have to do something. I don't think this team, as constituted currently, is making any noise. They got embarrassed in the playoffs. For as bad as the Celtics played, and they deserve all the vitriol that they got for their performance in the playoffs, we at least went to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost in Game 7.
Yeah,
they had the worst exit of all the playoff teams.
Yeah, for the NBA, yeah, that's for sure.
And that, yeah, I think the Sixers and the Bucks they have the best chance of losing their two biggest stars, and it's not,
their biggest stars like Joel Embiid. You think he's gonna leave the Sixers?
Mm-hmm. I think he's most likely going to New York.
I don't know. I don't think that he would like New York very much.
Well, I mean, you're in Philly. Those people are fucking nutbags for their sports too.
True. That's true.
But it's going to be an interesting offseason. Let's finish it up here with draft talk, which we've kind of mixed in here. Obviously, who's your number one pick?
Scoot Henderson. I like his name.
I like name. Bilal Coulibaly.
I think that both of the twins, whose names I can't remember,
Osir and Amen Thompson.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be number one picks. So I think they're going to be a joint number one pick to whoever gets them.
That would be really cool to run out two twins at the same time.
They're going to be. Each one of them's only allowed to play 41 games. You can't play them on the same game. Stipulations of drafting them both as number one.
Or you just play them the same amount of minutes on the same team, but one plays the bench and will cycle in for the other players. So whoever's playing against them is all right, good, I'm getting a break from because they're both really good defenders.
Every 6 minutes they swap.
James Harden's dribbling. He's fuck, this guy Osir just gave me hell. All right, at least he's subbing off. Oh fuck, here comes the same guy again. Literally the same guy with a different name. Fuck.
They have to wear the same fucking uniform too. So when the one guy gets off, he has to take the uniform off and give it to the other guy coming in.
It's like Markieff and Marcus all over again.
That's funny. They all have the same fucking tattoos and everything.
But so obviously Wembanyama.
Victor's one. The Rockets have the 2 pick, right?
No, the Hornets.
The Hornets. So it's gonna be Brandon Miller at 2. Scoot at 3.
I think it's gonna be Scoot.
I think it's gonna be Miller. I think they want a wing. This league is led by wings.
Yeah, but they have Mikal Bridges, who's all right. Not Mikal. Miles Bridges.
He got suspended. Is he back this year? Because
He's
he
going to come
was
back this year.
gone for all last year.
He's going to get a suspension, and then he's going to come back after the suspension.
I'd still rather just have another wing just in case you're going to get rid of that guy and move on from him. You're already a guard heavy
Fair.
team. Then you got, I think the Thompson twins are going to be 4-5, from what I'm hearing. I mean, I don't really keep up much with the draft. I'm just kind of.
It's a bad draft.
You're very top heavy with your first three, and the rest of it's kind of just. The Thompson twins are not good shooters. They're freak athletes, from what I've heard. I've heard they're like the most unbelievable defensive players and athletes that you've ever seen. But if you can't shoot, it's kind of hard to keep you on the floor.
Very true.
It's going to be interesting to see who goes where.
The Celtics don't have a pick until pick 35.
Yeah.
Which slotted to draft CD Sissoko.
Yeah, don't know anything about him. I have not looked
He's
into any
French.
of that because guess what? He's not going to play. He's going to be another draft and stash guy that doesn't play.
Jan Madar, whatever the hell. Jan Mader, whatever the hell.
Jan Madar and Johan Bagarin.
You're a big Johan Bagarin fan, dude.
That freak athlete wing. His assist numbers aren't bad. He's a decent shooter.
The fucking Celtics, I don't know what it is with the Celtics in France, but we love drafting French players. Holy crap.
Yabusele. We got Johan Bagarin. We got this guy we're going to might draft this year. There's
Dude,
another guy.
What's Jan Madar?
No, he's not Israeli.
Oh.
He plays in the Israeli league. He's not making over because he's 22 already, and he's only getting like 11 points a game in like 15 minutes playing in an Israeli, so I don't think he's coming over.
I bet they're fucking whoever the hell over in Celtics front office loves French people is fucking kicking himself. They didn't suck and get the number 1 pick this year. That guy's pretty good.
I'm sure he's floating that idea out there very softly, like, "Hey guys, what do you think about Victor Wembanyama?
What would you trade
Jason Brown needed a whole year off?"
But listen to this. Would you trade, let's just say, for shits and giggles,
for Victor Wembanyama? Yes.
No, obviously that's like they're never going for that. Would you trade Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for Victor Wembanyama?
No.
Why? Really?
Because you're not like you said earlier. You want a shot at winning this year, and if you trade those two for one guy.
It's not just one guy, Steve. It's the guy.
Yeah. That's putting all of your eggs in a one wet paper bag that if you step the wrong way, all of them are falling on the ground.
I think many teams
takes a
out
rolled
there
ankle for that kid to not play the rest of the year, and then all of a sudden your starting lineup is Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, Grant Williams.
It's actually not that bad. I wouldn't hate that lineup. You're not winning anything.
You're not even making the playoffs with that lineup.
I think you would make the playoffs with that.
Smart,
all the team, dude. Nobody's going to score a bucket.
Yeah, well, problem is that Brogdon's going to get hurt. Smart's going to get hurt. Horford doesn't play back to backs. Grant Williams is one of your starters, and he's not going to play basketball for 2 months right now.
I don't hate that team.
All right, I'll call up Blake. I'll tell him, hey, offer the Spurs Tatum and Brown for the number 1. Let's see if they take.
I'm gonna run that simulation in 2K just to see what that looks like.
That's so bad.
Wembanyama is a problem, dude.
He is, but those legs are scary. At that height, those legs are scary.
You got to gamble it all.
Yeah, the Spurs did. We didn't. We were a game short of the finals this year.
It sucks that he's going to the Spurs because, I mean,
he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
You know he's going to be great.
I love that he's going to the Spurs. I want to see people succeed. I didn't want to see him right away in Houston. Houston wouldn't know what the fuck to do with him.
I mean, yes, Steve, listen, for the guy, I'm glad, of course, that's happening. But as a Celtics fan, as a selfish Celtics fan, I hate to see that.
Hey, he didn't go to anybody in the Eastern Conference. You see him twice a year.
Yeah, I know, but guess what? The fucking guy is going to be, you're going to have a 7'8" goddamn fucking.
I'd rather see him twice than 4.
You might see him in the finals.
That's fine. You see him then when he's tired, and hopefully you can make it work. That's what it is. I'm really excited to watch him play against Joker.
Oh God, that's going to be interesting.
That's gonna be a fun matchup. Or Gobert. He gets to play Gobert 4 times a year, and
they're like good friends.
About this kid was that he was beating the brakes off of Gobert in 1-on-1s, and that was when he was like
crazy.
16. When he was 16 years old, there was video coming out of him playing Gobert one-on-one and like dunking on him and hitting step backs on him and shit. And Gobert couldn't do anything about it. Gobert wouldn't play on the national team if they put him on it
Why?
because he wanted his minutes.
I thought they were good friends.
Oh, I guess they don't like each other because it's competition.
Nah, Gobert's a fucking dink, anyways.
Nobody likes Gobert anyways. Are you kidding me? Even the French guys don't like Gobert. You think Tony Parker's calling up Rudy Gobert and seeing how he's doing?
No, true. Yeah, I mean, there's not really anything to talk about. It's a historically weak draft class. The Celtics aren't picking in the first round, so I don't really care.
We're already a stacked team too, so the guy's not going to play.
Yeah. Although you
That's
see
good.
JD Davison, you see those
Usually.
pics of him in the offseason, he looks fucking yoked.
Does he looking big?
He looks cut up. Like and he's been putting in a lot of work in the offseason. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard's probably about to leave. So
Hate to see it too. I like Peyton.
you might see a lot more JD Davison in the upcoming future.
I don't think so, not unless we trade Brogdon or somebody.
Well, you'll see as much.
Peyton Pritchard was ahead of him on the list, and he wasn't getting any games.
But that's what I'm saying. You'll see more JD Davison just because he's going to be taking those Pritchard minutes.
Yeah, the 5 he got every 6 games. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it's a lot of blowouts. You'll be seeing a lot of them. Who knows? Maybe he'll be really goddamn good. Steve, I'm done counting out second round players as being worth anything. They might be, as I just said.
First round player.
What?
Katie Davis was first round pick. He's picked in the
Really?
20s. I think he's picked in the 20s. Yeah.
Damn, I thought he was second round.
I think Kevin Gelly was a second round player that we drafted.
JD Davison from Alabama. Where was he picked? No, he's picked in the second round.
Was
Pick 53.
Wow, and he's
No, 23rd pick. 23rd pick.
So yeah, 50.
No, 53. Yeah. Duh. What the fuck
23rd
am I
in the
talking
second
about?
round. Yeah.
Damn, he was born in 2002. Fuck, that sucks.
Yeah, it's starting to get weird, dude.
Dude, I'm starting to remember these years.
Yeah, 2002 we were 7.
Damn. That blows. All right. Well, I don't know. See, what do you got? You got anything to talk about? Anything we missed?
I'm gonna go drink and pretend that I'm not as old as I am, and then tomorrow I wake up and remember how old I am because I drank.
Yes. The hangovers, man. They get
Yikes.
worse as we get older.
All right, boss.
All right, folks.
What we got?
This has been the Banner Report. We'll try and keep it to a weekly thing. Hopefully this will be out by tomorrow. Obviously not too much editing. But Steve, it's been real.
Let's fucking party. Celtics can't hurt us anymore.
Nope. I feel relieved.
Not until October. We got 4 months before the pain starts again.
God, I can't fucking wait. I'm so excited.
Injected into our veins, baby.
All right, folks. Talk to you
Unless
later.
there's some big news, we'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. Peace.